moment. The latest stats from REWA, currently sitting at 330. Solid performer in a challenging market. Hi, Michaelkeil here. Today I'm with in-house economist Ryan Bridie and we're going to talk about the Perth real estate market. Ryan, tell us what's going on.
G'day Mike. Okay, to start with, Deloitte Access Economics released their most recent outlook and Sydney and Melbourne were the focus and are expected to be the brunt of falling property prices. Chris Richardson from Deloitte made the headline-grabbing comment that Sydney and Melbourne housing prices are falling by over $1,000 a week. I imagine this got everyone's attention over east.
It's got my attention.
Deloitte, however, were quick to point out that they believe Australia's economy would not suffer from the falling housing prices, and they believe that this fall in housing prices is just a correction from investors over-speculating in the market. They believe all Australia's economic foundations are really strong and positive.
Okay.
With Sydney-Melbourne housing prices in decline, it's interesting to see where the rest of Australia sits in relation. And as we can see, Melbourne has moved from a peak market down to starting to decline. Sydney is in a declining market. Southwest WA has moved from approaching bottom of the market to bottom of the market, and this is where Perth sits currently.
Yeah, Ryan, with this property cycle, here in Todd White, they are one of the top valuation firms around Australia. This is very exciting because Perth has been through a lot of pain and now we're at the bottom. This is where the best opportunities exist. Would you agree?
Absolutely. We've been through our correction and now we can now start to move up. You wouldn't want to be sitting in Sydney or Melbourne situation because you've got a long way to go before you hit the bottom of the market.
Got it.
So if we're looking at it, it's really interesting to see how much variation there is throughout Australia in where locations sit in the property cycle. As we said, Perth has already experienced this correction, and that was again a result of investors over-speculating in the market, and then we had such large negative net interstate migration. Deloitte points out that the increase in verification and regulation is the major reason for declines in investors over east. So we've got two very different reasons, years apart. They're not the same situation. If we move on and say, okay, where is Perth when we look at REWA data at the moment? Well, we can see in October we had a total of 14,786 listings. Now, this is higher, 7% higher than 4 weeks ago, but that is most likely a result of sellers entering the market coming spring. But 1 year ago, listings were 13,961. So we have a 6% increase in listings. And Michael, having 28 years of experience in the real estate industry, I'd like to know, what do you think is the optimal level of listings?
Yeah, look, a great question, and normally around 12,000 listings is what we call a balanced market, where there's no advantage to the buyer and there's no advantage to the seller. It's also known as equilibrium, so we're still technically in a buyer's market at the moment, so but not far away from equilibrium.
Okay, so if we have a look, we can see we've got listings in the grey bars here, and as our listings increase, so too does our average selling days, and that would make sense. They're a pro-cyclical relationship. But at the same time, we have a decrease in sales of approximately 5% to 486 sales this year. So this compounds the increase in the average selling days. On the next graph though, we can see the correlation between sales volumes and median prices. So as the sales volumes continue to fall, so does our median prices. But what I do like to see is here we seem to have very much bottomed and on an increase. And this is actually going against the trend of decreasing sales. This is for the June quarter. We'll have the results for the September quarter soon, and it'll be really interesting to see where our sales volumes sit and where our median house price sits.
Definitely.
There's some really positive news for investors. Rental listings are 25% lower than this time last year. Vacancy rates are at their lowest levels for 4 years. Vacancy rates are below the 10-year average. There's obviously a relationship with reduced investment happening, and it's probably surprising that we haven't seen a greater increase in rents. If we look at the graph here, we should see everything going in a counter-cyclical direction. That means as vacancy rates increase, we should see rents decrease. So the grey bars increase, the blue and the red lines decrease. But what's happened is, as we can see here, for the last 5 quarters, we can see a decrease in the vacancy rate. Yet rents have remained fairly stable. So although that's good for landlords in some respects, it's a little bit surprising that we haven't seen rents increase a little more. However, the reduced rental listing numbers and the low vacancy rates have reduced the average time on the market. So we can see a 15% reduction from 54 days this time last year to 46 days currently. So landlords now have some consistency about rent expectations, there's less vacancies and less days on the market. In conclusion, the property clock shows Perth sits in a prime position for home buyers and investors. Reductions in vacancy rates, days on market, along with stable rents should increase investor confidence. We've said this before, Perth has already experienced its property correction, and the property clock demonstrates this. Otherwise, Perth would still be classed as a declining market. We wouldn't have been at the bottom. Being at the bottom is where the opportunity lies.
Yep, and Ryan, there's some great charts there. Very encouraging signs if you're an investor as well, with those vacancy rates coming down. And I think, looking at that rents will have to rise if that continues to come down. So some great signs if you're an investor. And from a buying opportunity, I feel, and I'm sure you agree, that there's no better time to be buying in Perth real estate right now.
You're at the bottom of the market, vacancies are falling, we expect to see rents rising, and as we move around the clock, we'll see property prices increase.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, Ryan, again, thanks for a fantastic presentation. If you're thinking of buying or selling, call the award-winning Michaelkeil.com team on 1300 522 000. If you'd like to receive our weekly e-newsletter, which Ryan writes, just go to our website and register to receive the newsletter, and we'll be in communication with you. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation, and bye for now.